Hey guys, and welcome back to another Cultured Boys discussion. I'm Pepe, and I'm joined by Nathan, and we're continuing on with the Spooktober vibe this month. And today we're going to be talking about our fears. That's right, it's going to be a little. I don't know. How would you describe this episode? I don't know. Like I feel like I have some fears, but I'm not sure. How about you, Nathan? What's your? How would you explain your fears? What is the tone for this episode?
The the theme for the episode, what I have noted down is scary moments that shaped our fears in a sort of like, not to be like, oh, this is our insecurities and things, but like it's because like spooky in it, like,
Yeah.
and I don't know, it just sort of fit the theme. I think we're both not very like into horror. So it was a bit hard to be like, oh, what can we do? Because obviously, when you're not into horror, it's like we don't play horror games, we don't really watch horror movies, we don't this, we don't that. So it was like you got to find something, and this is what we came up with.
It's one of those ones where, like, to be fair, with horror movies, I do actually enjoy them. I'm not gonna like hate on them at all, but I never have the like. Oh no, what was it? I don't. I never like feel like I need to watch them
Yeah,
by
no, same.
myself.
Like I could watch them, but I never have the urge or
That's it.
the
The urge,
need
yeah. Like
to
I've
watch them.
even with horror games, like I was always kind of like Resident Evil gets a lot of hype at the moment. Is that even really a horror game? Is it more like a thriller or is it a horror game? Like,
It depends on which one you play. Super early on, they were horror games, and then five and six are like action games, and then seven onwards goes sort of back to horror. So it's sort of like horror thrillery. It is still sort of horror.
yeah, like people go crazy about like Resident Evil 4 and that, and I was like, should I play that one? Because people like really love that one.
That that one's pretty good. I didn't get very far, but it's pretty good.
But yeah, like in terms of horror and that, like films and that, I'll gladly watch films with people. But like by myself, I've never really felt like the need to go watch a horror film by myself. Like I'll watch it with people, but otherwise, nah. Same with horror games, I guess. I played Slenderman, if that's a like.
Yeah, that I would count that, like the original like Slender Man, because
I think I only jumped on it because of the meme, though.
I think that's why most people did in it. Like,
Yeah, like everything is just yeah, but that back in 2012 or whatever, it was oh, I'll jump on Slenderman for the meme, and then it was like okay, cool. Like, I think they started developing the game even more, and I think no one really gave a shit. So
I think some people did. I did watch Let's Plays of like the official like Slenderman game, but it was basically all the same shit, except now it wasn't just Slenderman. There was like another thing in another
yeah,
section of the game that was going to get you if you didn't
yeah.
whatever it was just more Slenderman. Like it was the same mechanics, different thing, different area. Like,
But yeah, I've never really, yeah, just horror genre has never been my major forte. But I'd say I'd probably enjoy it more than like I don't know the war film genre or something like that. Like I'm never been a war films guy, but I'd say I'm more inclined to watch a horror than a war film.
I'm not very inclined to watch either. But to get us back on topic, there is a horror movie, and I mentioned this in other episodes. Like, for my fears, you've like if you're a I don't want to say long time listener, but like if you've listened in before, you may have heard some of these. Mine are on repeat because these are just the things that are like most vividly in my mind when I think about what like shaped my fear. Um, and I know I've told you before, Pepe, but when I was 4, I was sat in a room and my cousins came in and they put the first Chucky movie on.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And as a kid, I thought, "Oh, cool. I'll just sit and watch this movie with my older cousins." Oh, look, there's a doll on the screen, right? You think, "Oh, it's just a toy." Little did I know, 4-year-old me was gonna remember that for the rest of his life because that toy came to life and started killing shit and became demonic. And ever since, I cannot stand the sight of a realistic looking doll. They all creep me out, and I still have the minor fear that one of those dolls is going to come to life and try to kill me.
Yeah, I can understand. Like they're just like really creepy in general, though, really, aren't they? Like they just.
It's something about, but I think it's the uncanny valley thing, like that they
Mm.
just look too real, but then they're so. fake at the same time that you like it doesn't process right in your brain.
Yeah, I think I'm just like for me, like I've never had that fear personally,
Oh well,
but
lucky
I'd
you
look at
then.
a doll and I'd look at it and be like, okay, that's fucking creepy. But I wouldn't be like, oh, it's gonna kill me or whatever. I think I'd just be like, but I haven't had the same experience as you. That's the thing. You watched that as a kid and that like spawned your fear. Like, I guess, yeah, like, okay, I'm gonna put it this way. Like, my experience with dolls, right, is that I remember staying at one of my aunt's houses when I was like a teenager
Uh-huh.
and they're like, "Oh, okay, look, we just need like," because my parents like, "Look, we're just not gonna pay for accommodation, whatever. We'll stay in this house. You gotta stay in this house."
Yeah.
I was like, "Yeah, that's fine, whatever. I'll stay with my aunt." And they're like, "Okay, we'll put you in the spare room." And I was like, "Okay, cool. What's in the spare room?" Like about 20 dolls.
Oh
Like you know,
no.
there's really like the Victorian kind of ones.
Oh
Like
no, they're the ones
that
that would.
my
Oh no, I couldn't stay in
it's
there.
so my cousin used to collect them, I believe, and she just like kept them there, but she moved to like New Zealand and just left all these dolls there.
No,
um,
no, 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 no. I can't.
so yeah, like it was one of those ones where I didn't get creeped out by whatsoever. I'll be like, I had a DS, so I'll just go. I was like, I'm going to bed, and I was like, play some DS or
Nah, bro,
whatever, and
DS or
just
not,
like
I
chill.
would not have slept that night. I probably would have like slept in the hallway outside. Like
Yeah,
I would not stay in that room.
yeah. I'm like, yeah, I'm not too fussed about it personally. I can get past it, but I guess that's the difference, though, right? Because I don't know how you feel about them, but like my biggest fear, I'd say, is spiders.
I hate them. I hate
And
them.
you know this, yeah, you hate them as well. It's like they're creepy. Like nothing with that amount of legs is like crawling around like creating shit. Like what was it giving spawn to like little baby spiders or whatever? Like
Oh, mate.
nah, that shit
Nah, I've
that
seen
shit
too
can get
much.
in the bin.
I've seen in the bin. No, they need to be burnt with fire, like all of it. Just all of it. Cleanse it with fire. I cannot. Like I've gotten a little better with it over the years, but it's still. I'm with you on that. That should not exist, right? And I don't understand people's obsession with like, and not people in general. Like even I don't know what it is, but recently on my YouTube, there's just been like lots of, oh look, there's a spider, and it's like whoever's recording the video is still scared as well. Like they're not comfortable with it either, but for some
Yeah.
reason they still like, oh, content in it. I'm like, no, get that off my fucking screen. Get that away.
Yeah.
Virtual, real, like whatever. Get it all away from me. I don't need that. And I don't want to see any of that.
I can kind of get away with like the virtual spiders. Like you know, when I say virtual spiders, I mean kind of like 3D spiders and stuff like that. You know, when
Oh
they
yeah,
like
I mean
they're in
like
games or whatever.
in
I'll
video
be like,
games
yeah,
it's
okay.
not that bad.
Yeah,
I've
it's when
gotten
it's
over
like
it.
actually in the freaking house or whatever. Like I'll just like the thing is, right? Like I live by myself. So like when it comes to spiders, I have to deal with them myself. And luckily for the past few years I've lived this place, like there haven't been that many spiders. But like I don't know if you felt this, but like back in August or September, around those 2 months, like suddenly became spider
Yeah,
season.
the scary thing is I saw loads of articles about like,
Yeah.
oh, how to stop them from getting in, and then like other ones that are like, oh, get prepared because they're coming. I'm like, why?
Yeah.
Why?
Yeah, like, and I don't know what happened, but in those 2 months, right? Like you said, they were just everywhere. And then suddenly, like in my house, there's suddenly like about I don't know, every other week or whatever, there would be a spider, and I'll be for fuck's sake, I've got to take care of this now. And as a person that like hates them and like loathes the little bastards, I had to get rid of them, right? And there's some people out there that aren't scared of spiders, and they're like, "Oh, don't kill it, put it under the glass or whatever, and like do this." And realistically, I'm not that kind of person that's gonna be,
No.
"Oh, I'll get the glass and then throw out the window," because I have the fear, right? That I'll get like out the window or whatever with this glass and paper. I'll open it and then the spider's just gonna crawl along the
Yeah.
glass and then outside the glass along my hand, and then I'm just dropping glass, and that's not gonna be healthy for anyone. So my way of dealing with this, right? And people that will like spiders and say don't kill them will probably hate me for this. But my way of doing it is if it's a kind of big one, right? I'll throw stuff at it. I'll throw stuff at it and then hope like I don't know, like 50% of the time I'll miss anyway, but it depends how big the thing is I'm throwing. Um the other percentage is if it's low down enough, I'll get like a bunch of toilet paper, right?
Hmm.
And I'll approach it with caution, cover the spider in toilet paper, and then punch the wall.
Okay.
So it's the only way. Like, and realistically, you have to be speedy with it as well. You got to be like cover and then punch, cover and punch, and that's the only. It's the only way I could deal with it by myself because I can't deal with that shit. I don't want to look at that shit, let alone get close to it. So I have to take care of it immediately. I'd rather take care of it than have it walking around my flat and like laying eggs or something. Like I'm not about that life. Like I'm not there here for it. So I take care of it.
What if it's in like a really awkward place?
Okay, if it's in a really awkward place, it's the thing because
Are you
my
still like throwing
ceiling.
stuff or you getting the vacuum?
Um.
Like,
Okay. See, this is the thing. The vacuum would be a good shout, but I'm always scared that it's just gonna pour out the vac.
yeah, okay.
Vacuuming it doesn't kill it. Vacuuming does not kill this thing. It basically just sucks it up, and then it's living in your Hoover.
Yeah,
It's not
okay.
gonna be like, oh, that's dead. Like,
I'm glad we're on the same wavelength because I also don't
yeah,
do the vacuum thing because I'm like, it just lives
no.
there. It just lives in there. Like that's not something that's smart.
Nah, like it's not a thing that I've ever trusted. It's not something that I'd want to do. So another way I've done stuff, like if it's in a high place, I have to kind of just spray it with something and hope that it runs down in a place where I can punch it. You know, like where you get air freshener.
Yeah.
I'm just making it smell good right now. It's a really sweet
See,
smelling
at least
spiders.
you're making it smell good. If it's in an awkward place, I tend to go grab like the bug spray, and I'm like, right, we're both dying now, fucker. I will waste this whole bottle.
Yeah. Does it kill it
Well,
at all? The bug spray.
it doesn't exactly kill it, but it weakens it a lot. Depends on
Yeah.
how much spray you're using. But like I said, if it's big enough, I'm like, we're both dying today. It's a mutual destruction, right? You're gonna
Yeah.
die and I'm gonna die, and I'm gonna be happier for it because you're not in my house anymore. But I guess I should be more depressed because I also won't be in the house anymore. But
It's a suicide pact. It's like fucking
pretty much.
selling Goku
But
kind of vibe.
but then like if it's yeah, it's the same thing. Like you get the bug spray, you weaken it with the spray, right?
Mm, yeah,
And because bug spray, like most aerosols, if you
yeah,
spray it enough and it's close enough, it just starts to coat the thing.
yeah, yeah.
And then I go and grab the biggest, most flexible shoe or flip flop or something I can
Oh
find in the
yeah,
house, and I
yeah,
smash that fucker as hard as I can. I'm not
yeah,
using my fist and a bunch of tissue. That takes
yeah,
too long. I just get the
yeah.
biggest shoe and I bash
Just
that fucker
throw
dead.
shit. Yeah, yeah.
No, not even throw it. I'm like, I will
You
hold
just
that
slash,
shoe
slash it.
and
Yeah.
like most of the sole is just gonna crack down on it. I'm
You go
not
for the
taking.
power method. Yeah,
Yeah, and I
yeah.
do literally use my entire body. Like
Yeah.
you know, in all that sports science, like, oh yeah, you know, to throw a good punch, you use all the kinetic energy, like you twist everything. I'm like, that's what I'm doing when I'm smashing a spider with a shoe. I'm using the entire
Hadouken that
force.
motherfucker.
Hado, that's not enough, man. I'm like, you know, you know the like Akuma like special move, like
Yeah.
yeah, that's what I'm doing.
Yes.
I'm making sure that thing's dead.
Like this is okay. So you just throw the shoe at it. Basically, that's your like basic vibe. Like if it's in, like I mean, I'm curious as well. Like my fear of spiders kind of stemmed a little bit. I think it's a mix, right? Because I think part of it stemmed from watching the second Harry Potter movie. One because there was like a shit ton of spiders in
Yeah,
that,
I
and that
just
was not a
remember
vibe.
that. Yeah.
So part of it stems from that, but I think the other part of it stems from one time when I was in like the garden at my aunt's house, like playing with one of my cousins. Like literally like the size of my aunt's garden is massive as well, and there was a whole bunch of trees down there. So it was like a mini forest in itself. So
Okay.
like we were just like chilling in this little garden thing, and like I just look up at one point and there's this spider web like dangling down from one of the branches. And like I think it like kind of lands in my hair a little bit. But
Ugh.
um the thing is though, that's where the trauma kind of stems from. Because even though I had really short hair as a kid, I had like a buzz cut, right? Like
Yeah.
that fear, I think twinned with that Harry Potter movie. Like the fear that it somehow will get into my skull just set in, and I was like, I became irrational at that point, and I'm like, nah, I'm not dealing with that. I don't like the fact this thing with webs is crawling it like over my head or whatever. Even though I'll probably brushed it off within seconds, right? I just never lived past that point. I was like, nah, I'm done. Like, fuck spiders, they can absolutely fucking do one. And that I think that's kind of where it stemmed from. Like, I
See, at
just
least you have something it stems from. I think
yeah,
mine is just like a primal fear. Like I've
yeah,
always just hated them. I don't remember a specific moment. I've just
yeah,
always my entire life despised the things.
yeah. So, like, what is your opinion on scorpions?
I used to like them as a kid, but the older I got, I realized they're just another creepy fucking bug that can
Yeah.
also kill me,
Mm.
probably in a more painful way as well.
Yeah.
So
I think
yeah, I don't like
I
those
think
either.
it's one of those things that for me, like realistically, spiders are common in the UK. Scorpions are not. So my fear, like the idea of yeah, scorpions are probably a lot more scary and more deadly than a spider. But arguably, like I don't see a scorpion from every other week. So I'm not going to be like having a rational fear of scorpions where I don't come into contact with them unless I go into the fucking desert or whatever. Even then, I don't really plan to go to any deserts anytime soon.
Yeah,
So
I know, right? Who plans
as far as
really,
I'm
unless
as
it's
far
like
as I'm
work or
aware,
something?
scorpions are a fucking myth. I've never seen a scorpion. I don't think I've ever seen a
I
scorpion.
actually have though. I
Where
just
do you see a scorpion
realized.
at?
So I used to know someone who had one as
Oh,
a
no
pet,
way.
and
Okay.
I wasn't scared of him until I saw one in real life. And again, I think that's when the primal fear came in, and I was like, I don't like this thing. Even though it was nocturnal and it was in a glass enclosure, and this person told me never go near the enclosure, right? You can look at it through the glass from a tiny distance because you're a kid, but don't go near it. And I saw this thing from underneath its like log or whatever, wherever it was hiding at to keep away from the light. But yeah, I used to think scorpions were cool until I saw that real life one. And then something switched, and I ever since I'm like, nah, I can't deal. Can't deal.
Yeah. That's like, yeah, I can understand that. It's probably just seeing one in real life. Yeah, I've never seen one. I've seen it in fucking Animal Crossing, and even then, that gives me a little heart attack. Uh, um, but yeah, I'm trying to think if there's any other ones that I have, like in terms of fears.
I've
Um,
got a few.
go on, yeah, list
It's
them off.
like
Go on.
so it's not so much a fear, but like it was definitely a scary moment, and it's one that I've never gotten over either.
Yeah,
But did you ever watch Roger Rabbit?
I haven't watched it in years and years. So I watched it,
Okay,
probably watched it as a kid, but I don't remember anything from it.
so do you remember at the end where Christopher Lloyd, like the guy starts transforming and he's like, and I could talk just like this. And then like
Jesus
his
Christ.
eyes are bulging and
Yeah.
everything. And then it's that whole section where he starts turning into a cartoon. I used to watch Roger Rabbit all the time as a kid. It was like one of my favorite
Yeah.
movies. Very inappropriate for a 4-year-old, but I digress. Uh,
Yeah.
I watched that so many times, and like even now as an adult, like I'm
Mhm.
nearly 30, and I'm like, that one scene, that whole section at the end of the film where he starts doing that, and then he
Okay,
gets,
yeah.
he gets melted as well at the end.
I do kind
But
of like feel like I remember the melting thing.
yeah, so like it's also that whole part where he's getting melted and he's getting run over by the
Yeah.
steamroller.
Okay, yeah.
Like I don't know why it traumatized me, man. Like I can,
Okay.
even though I haven't seen the film in probably years by this point, like a lot
Mhm.
of just that end scene is really, really vivid in my mind. I
Is
can
it
just picture it
is it
almost
like so
frame
is
for
there a
frame.
certain thing from that? Is it like the melting or is it like the
I think it was just a combination of everything. I think it worked
yeah.
so perfectly to be the creepy whatever that I just never forgot it.
Yeah. So like do you feel the same about Raiders as well? Like, Indiana Jones Raiders of the Lost Ark, like
I
right at the end where like the guy's face just melts and it's just like
I never actually seen it.
you never seen Indiana Jones?
I don't think so. I might have seen parts of it as a kid on TV, but I've never actually
Yeah.
sat and
Oh,
watched
okay,
an
fair.
Indiana Jones. Like,
Okay, the first three are good. Then watch the fourth one. But I know, but now I'm like thinking like if it is a face melting thing that you're kind of like traumatized by, is the first one like it's only like a split scene to be fair, and some guy's face just melts. I won't go into any details, but I think watch those films, man. They're fucking sick films. It's George Lucas as
I
well, so you
I
know it's
mean,
gonna be
I've
good.
been meaning to. There's so
Yeah.
many of those. Like, I. That's for a different episode, I think.
Yeah. But no, okay, yeah, so the face melting thing isn't probably the traumatic.
Well, it's not so much the
Fair.
face melting, but just like the whole thing.
Yeah. Okay. The whole sequence. Yeah. I guess that's the one thing. Like, going back to when we were talking about horror movies, the fact that we never watch them.
Yeah,
One of the things I kind of stem for, if we're talking about certain scenes, there's a certain scene from Silence of the Lambs that really scared me as a kid.
never seen
Um,
it.
See, I've this is the thing. I've already seen like bits of it. I remember it being on a TV on ITV2 or whatever, and basically, it's even though like people tell me now, like, oh, Silence of the Lambs isn't even a horror movie; it's more of a thriller or whatever, and Anthony Hopkins is just doing his thing. Like, there's always just one scene, right, of like where it's Anthony Hopkins where he does the like that weird like, thing or whatever.
Actually, I know the reference to that.
Yeah, like I ate his liver with a side of
Yeah.
fava beans or what. Like that scene, like just traumatized. Well, obviously, because he doesn't do it, but it's the description of it, and I think it's that just really freaking scared me as a kid, and it's just put me off the whole film of Silence of the Lambs because it just traumatized me. I was like, "Fuck that! I do not want to watch this film. It is like the last film I want to see." Like, yeah,
I mean, it's film related as well, but
yeah,
I remember I remember going when I was like 7
hmm,
to Universal Studios in Orlando. I went on the Jaws ride,
okay,
and it was one of those rides where you just like sat on a boat that's on a track,
hmm,
and you go through, and there's a guy who like does a guided tour
yeah.
kind of thing, and then all of a sudden
I
like a
remember this now,
giant
actually.
shark animatronic.
Yeah, I remember
But
this.
as a 7-year-old, I was actually sat on the side that Jaws came to attack you,
Oh, okay, yeah, that's
and
gonna be a bit.
ever since, and it still stands right now. Ever since, I have gained the fear of the deep ocean, as in like
Really?
if
Okay.
I cannot reach the ground and the current is too strong, and I feel like I don't know what could be under there, I just I have this primal fear. I almost feel like I shut down. There's
Interesting.
a lot of
Okay.
times where I like, and I love swimming and I like going in the ocean, but there's been plenty of times, even as an adult, if I've gone a tiny bit too far and I'm like, I can't quite reach the ground,
Yeah.
like a fear starts to set in,
Do you
and
think
I
is it
like,
is it a fear of drowning or is it a fear of the ocean
no,
itself?
I think it's the fear of the unknown, that something can just
Ah,
come
okay,
out
yeah.
from under there and get me. It's
Ah,
because
interesting.
like I
Okay.
don't have a fear of drowning because I can swim,
Yeah. Yeah.
like, and I'm a fairly competent swimmer, so I'm not like worried about drowning, right? But it's the fear that I don't know what could be under there. Anything can be under
Mm.
there, and anything under there can take me out instantly. Like,
Interesting. I've never really thought of it like that kind of thing. I think if there's anything water related, I'd probably say drowning is probably there, but I don't even have a fear of drowning. I wouldn't even put myself in the kind of position where I think I would be like unable to like I would be drowning, if that makes sense. Like I'll go into like the ocean or whatever like that. Like if you go like to the sea or whatever, and like, oh
yeah,
I can't touch the bottom, but I'm not exactly like terrified by that. I can still swim back. I don't have a problem with that. Obviously, there might be a time where like, oh shit, I've got a cramp, I'm drowning. Bye. That might happen, but but I don't really have a fear of that. I feel like I'm quite confident in it. So I guess it's like for example, you wouldn't have a fear of sharks, and if one attacked you, you'd be like, oh shit, there's a shark there. I've been attacked. Even then, it's very unlikely. But
I mean, like there's always those primal fears. Like if a shark did
mm.
come for me, yeah, I'd have the primal fear that I'm about to die, right?
So okay, yeah. Off
But
off
I
of that
think,
then.
yeah,
Like obviously you said the Jaws ride is the thing that kind of triggered this.
yeah.
So if you were in the close vicinity of a shark, for example, like for example, like they do those things where you go in a cage and
Oh
the
yeah, the
shark's just
cage.
swimming around you.
The thing is, I half want to do that, but
Yeah.
I am actually like, I think there is a slight fear of sharks just because
Hmm.
of the Jaws ride. I would feel
Yeah.
very uncomfortable, and I probably would stay closer to the middle of the cage because some people will be like right on the edge, sticking their arms out, like, "Oh, look, cool, cool." You know what I mean? Like, because the shark's not going to do anything really unless they're agitated or like whoever's handling the whole experience is trying to fuck you up, right?
Okay.
So I I know I don't really have that much to fear in that sense, but I would still probably be closer to the middle of the cage because I'm like, if that shark kicks off, at least I'm
Yeah,
not
you know,
getting
like
bit.
you
I
can
ain't
actually
getting
react to it
eaten
a little
straight
bit.
away.
Yeah, you're
Yeah,
not like
exactly.
putting your hand through anything like that. Like, hey, look at this.
Yeah, exactly. Like I'm not close enough that that shark is
Yeah,
gonna get me.
interesting. Okay, yeah.
But then that's like the different fear, isn't it? Like
What's your opinion on heights and stuff like that?
I do not like heights. I'll get over it for the thrill of like a roller coaster, but that's also because I know I'm like mostly safe. But like, for example, I went to the Great Wall when I was a kid,
Okay, yeah,
and I was shaking in my boots the entire time. I couldn't take a step unless my parents were like, I was like clamped onto my mum.
yeah.
I would not let
Okay.
go, and like unless my mum moved, I was not moving. And
Yeah.
like,
Okay, I get you.
there's something about that as well. Like I could just barely see over the wall, and like I don't know. It's just imagining how far down it is. There's something about it.
My thing with heights, right, is that I actually don't really have a problem with that. It's more like I don't know, like it's more like the edge or whatever. Like I can even see like if I was like up on a cliff, right? I could be on the cliff and I can look at that. I'm like, that's fine. But like I wouldn't want to get too close to the edge just for the fear of like losing my footing or stuff like that. I feel like that's just don't not being stupid, right? I feel that's
Yeah,
I don't think even think it's a fear. I think
and
it's
I
just
feel
like
like that's more of
yeah.
the primal fear of dying from falling
Yeah.
rather
I'd
than the
say
height.
so, yeah.
But like
Like
I
it
actually do have the fear of the height. Like
yeah,
for
you feel the height,
example,
yeah. Mm.
you remember when we went to the Empire State Building?
Yes.
I didn't actually feel very comfortable going over to the edge. And that it's got all the cage and everything. So like
Yeah, yeah.
there is very little possibility you're falling out. But even so, I was incredibly uncomfortable and I couldn't really go near it. I went
Yeah.
to have a quick look for a second and I was immediately back
Just back.
further in.
Okay,
I
yeah,
was
I
like
get
I
you.
was getting cold sweats. I was that scared.
Ah, interesting. Okay.
Like it was a cool experience, but
Yeah.
fuck
I don't
me,
know if
that
you've ever
was
been to the Globe Theatre in
I
London
have
at all.
actually.
So like where you get to go up on the higher bits or whatever, and you get to look over like the
Oh, that's
main.
fine. For some reason that's fine.
See, for me, I'm not a fan of that because like for myself, I'm like about 6'1", right? And those little barriers that they have on that second floor of the Globe Theatre, like they don't protect much, right? Like, I feel like
Yeah.
there's a small barrier, but like that, like when I'm walking around with, it, I feel like that's just around my knee, like just like that's the height of it.
Yeah.
And when you're walking around out there near the edge of this, like near the edge of this like little balcony thing, and the barrier's only up to your knee, I'm like, the fuck, I could fall any moment now, and I'm not down for that. Like I like the moment I lose my footing or whatever. Like this is the one thing when I talk about heights, I don't have a fear of them, but it's like my fear is like even on it's when it's in like in a like a building or something, or you're on a balcony or like looking over the Empire State, like we said. I didn't have a problem with the Empire State because it was higher than me, the barrier. It's
Fair.
the fact that like there's this if there is a barrier and it's too low where I if I can lean over it, right, I get a little bit like, okay, a bit uneasy. When it's lower than my freaking hip level, that's when I'm like, okay, no, I need to back the fuck away. Because that is like that's I could easily like if someone were to push me,
Okay, yeah. So
in
it
secondary school
yeah.
where people do that, oh, like try and push you in the road, but then pull you back and like saved your life. Like if
I
someone
think
tried to
someone
do
tried
that
to
to me,
do
I would.
that to me on the Empire State. I actually
Oh
think
yeah,
someone from our group tried to do that to me, and
may have been me.
I probably almost had a heart attack.
Yeah, that's like it's not a
I
vibe.
Yeah, like
I'm not a bit.
honestly, like from the sounds of it, for you, it is just that there is no safety there. That you
Yeah,
could
literally.
easily just fall and break something or die or whatever. Like I think from the sounds of it, Yours is more again like the primal fear of like you could fall and die.
Yeah, that'd be it.
Like I honestly don't know where I get the fucking height thing from either. Like I'm not particularly tall either, so it's not like it's constant vertigo or something. You know what I mean? I'm just like always. I don't know. I think it's probably from most of my fears are probably from overactive imagination, and it ends up becoming a fear because like always links to the primal fear of I'm gonna die.
Mm.
I'm
It's
gonna
interesting,
die.
though, yeah. Yeah, but it always just it is that kind of thing. If it is literally not something you come in contact before, but it's the thought of it, it is literally like your like you said, your primal instincts. Like you just don't want to like go anything that you know you can sense danger from, and that's fine. Like, I mean,
I
it's
mean,
like it's the irrational fears, like we said about the dolls and the spiders and stuff like that. Because
yeah,
realistically, a spider is an irrational fear, right? Because more likely than not, they're not going to kill you, but it's the fact that they're there, and it's like, no, I can't deal with that. That is an irrational fear.
yeah,
Rational fears are like, yeah, like the ocean or whatever. I feel like that's a
yeah.
rational one,
The
and
open
the
seas, the
heights, yeah,
heights, like things that you could actually probably die
yeah.
from.
Yeah. Um, but yeah, I feel like those are my main ones. Well, you said you had a list of like a fair few, didn't you? Is there any other ones you
I
like
wouldn't
you?
say a fair few, but like,
Oh
I do have one last one, really.
yeah. Yeah.
At least one that I can recall, because obviously,
Hmm.
like, we're talking about fears here, so it's not probably there's probably more, but I most likely have repressed them, and
Okay.
it's
Yeah.
not something I'll realize until I come in contact with something. I'm like, oh
Yeah.
shit. Um, I do have like irrational fear of things that are much larger than me.
Interesting. Never
So,
like.
like, I have a memory of going into the Natural History Museum, and in there,
Uh-huh.
there's like a giant plastic blue whale.
Yeah, yeah.
And I remember being near that, and I just felt really, really uncomfortable. So much so that I would look over my shoulder, even though there's like two floors in that room,
Yeah.
and like so even on the bottom floor, you're underneath something, right? And the whale is in a big open middle section, so there's no way it could fall and kill you,
Yeah.
right?
Oh
But
yeah,
every time I would look over my shoulder and I would get closer to the wall because I wanted to be further away from
yeah.
it.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
I don't know where it comes from, and I don't know how I developed this, but like even sometimes like you're driving down and you just see like the giant windmills
Yeah.
to for wind energy. If they're a bit too close, I don't like that.
Interesting.
I don't like that. I don't
Ah.
even some things like if I'm not thinking about it, I don't have the fear, but I think it's when I'm like focused on it. Because like
Mhm.
I've been to like we've been to like Tokyo Skytree and stuff, and I've looked
Yeah,
up
yeah.
at it from like the ground floor and been like, cool, wow, that's really big, but I've not been
Yeah.
like scared.
Yeah. Because
But then
obviously the
there's
building in
like,
it, you're
yeah,
used to that kind of stuff.
but then there's like the video of when they had the giant Godzilla open mouth head for a
Mm.
zip line. That made me feel
Mhm.
really uncomfortable.
Oh,
There was
wow.
like the exhibits or the like whatever's for like Attack on Titan, and they do like giant Titan statues. That makes me feel uncomfortable. Even though when we went to Japan, I wanted to go see the giant
Mhm.
Gundam with you, I would have
Yeah,
seen it
yeah.
from a distance because that would make me feel uncomfortable.
Wow, okay, I didn't realize that. Okay.
Like, especially like the newer ones. Like the second one that they put up, the original giant Gundam in Odaiba they took down. That one was just a
Yeah.
statue. The second one, the unicorn Gundam, looks at
Yeah.
you apparently. That makes me
Ooh.
feel uncomfortable. And the other giant one in Yokohama that actually moves and stuff makes me
Yeah,
feel
yeah.
really uncomfortable as well.
Ah, no way.
Like
Would you still go see it though?
oh, I'd still see it, and again, I'd be like,
Yeah.
oh, this is cool, but like I would probably have to see it from like a distance. Like
Okay, yeah.
the one on Yokohama Pier, the one that moves, you can like go up a lift and like watch it move from up close. I would never do
That's
that.
unreal. That
I would
sounds
never
so
do that.
fucking cool. Okay, yeah.
Like if you and I went, you can do that by yourself. I'm not doing that.
I may actually do that by
Or
myself.
like
That
if
sounds
I
fucking
do it
cool.
with you, it's because you're there, but I'm not going anywhere near the
Yeah.
like glass barrier. Like I'm not getting that close. I'll try and take a picture over people's heads, like record a video like that, but I'm not getting close to it.
That's bro. That
Like
is
even talking
that's
about it now, the imagination is kicking in. I'm like, my heart's racing a little bit.
Okay, fair. Okay, I'm gonna mention what, like, it's obviously, like, it's a fear that I had as a kid. I don't have it anymore, but I only really got over it, like, in my late teens. Like, I never
Okay.
actually, like, this is a thing that I actually, like, I think I probably had this fear between, like, I don't know, when I was about 7, I think I developed it, and I kinda just, like, I wouldn't, like, completely be, like, shut off from it, but I would generally avoid them just because I just didn't wanna do it. I had a fear of escalators.
I could understand that though. I had
Yeah,
a small fear of escalators at one point, but that
yeah.
was because there was like a video circulating on Facebook at one point of what was it? One of the steps fell out on this big escalator in like
Oh, right,
China or
okay, yeah.
something, and a woman
Oh,
like
Jesus.
throws her kid at the top, but she goes in. And then I learned afterwards that like there's basically it's all just moving gears under there.
It
So if a
is,
step falls out,
yo.
you're gone. And then I started
Yikes.
having a fear of escalators, but
See,
I got over it.
mine
I got
mine
over it.
came from a very more simplistic place, right? Because mine stemmed from, like, when I was a kid, my shoelaces got caught in the actual
Oh, okay.
escalator bit itself, and I didn't know what to do. I was like, like, you literally, when you're a kid, you like blind panic, like, like, you try and pull it out, but that ain't freaking working or
Yeah,
whatever.
that's not gonna
And luckily, I
happen.
was with my dad, and he sorted out, like, relatively quickly in comparison. But I was just like, shit, what's gonna happen? What's gonna happen here? And for the longest time, I didn't actually wear shoelaces at all on my shoes. I always went for Velcro or
Interesting.
like normal shoes. And I generally, if I could, avoided escalators. Like, so the tube was an absolute freaking nightmare for me because, like,
It's all escalators pretty
it is
much.
all escalators. And if there was a chance, like, sometimes, when the escalator isn't working and it's
Yeah,
literally just like stand still, and but you can still walk on it, couldn't you? Just, you basically use the thing like
yeah.
stairs. I'd literally just be like, okay, cool, I'm gonna use this, the not working one. I'd never tell anyone that I had this fear, but, like, it just happened.
Interesting.
And, like, there was a certain point, I think, even when we first met, Nathan, like, when this is, like, probably about, yeah, like, over 10 years ago, 12 years ago now. Like, if we were going to Blue War or whatever, um, if I went on an escalator, as I said, I kind of got over it towards that age, right? But there would be points where, if there was a point where I can walk up the stairs rather than get the escalator, I would. But I never really, like,
Ah,
made it apparent that I was like, scared of these escalators or
a
whatever.
lot of things are starting to click in my memory
Yeah.
now. That
Yeah,
would
like,
explain why we took the stairs so many times.
it'd just be like, oh, I'm just gonna, like, it'd just be there, like, just a little thing. I've gotten over it, as I said, I've gotten over it, like, ages ago, ages and ages ago. So, but, like,
Ah,
it'd just be like the thing that I'd be like, nah, I'm just gonna, like, there's stairs there, I'm gonna take those. Like,
oh man,
and I think
yeah, no, like
it'd just be like, "Oh, I'm being quirky, I need to get my steps up, lol," and stuff like that. But it'd actually be because I'm like, "Nah, fuck that. I don't wanna I don't wanna
wow.
use escalator."
Yeah,
Yeah.
because there's so many times we used to just take the stairs,
Yeah.
and I always thought it was just because we were too like lazy to walk to the escalator, and like stairs are
Yeah.
right there. Huh.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like, it wasn't even like, oh yeah, like, I'm just doing it. Like, I wouldn't admit it. It was just because if you admitted that you're, like, scared of escalators at that age, especially when you're a teenager, you're
Oh
always
god,
ripping
yeah,
each other in it. Like, I would not live
yeah.
that down if I just admitted to you guys at the age that we were that I was scared of escalators. I would not live that shit down. So,
You
I
actually
just
wouldn't. Oh my
no,
god,
no. That's why, like, I've,
we'd
like,
force you on
literally,
there too. Like, Jesus.
yeah, I would, as I said, like, if it came to it on the tube or whatever, I'd face it. I wouldn't go so much as to be like, oh, I'll go use the stairs or whatever. By that age that we knew each other, I was more comfortable using the escalators, and I'd be like, get over it, and I'd just be like, probably just, I don't know, not speaking or whatever, or like standing still, holding onto the edge real tight or something.
Oh wow.
But yeah, that's there we go, that's a a thing. Uh,
Wow.
so yeah, it's something I've got over, and I think as a kid as well, I had, like, this general fear of the unknown as well, like stuff like, I think it was in the Natural History Museum or whatever, the Science Museum. There was at one point there was this absolutely massive escalator that goes through this, like, sphere, and I was shitting myself. No word of, like, it was just like, I was just like, nope, no, I don't want to look at it. I'm just gonna close my eyes and just go bear with it, like, just because my parents like, oh, just go up there, and I'm like, okay. I was closed my eyes, and then I was scared of, like, all random stuff like thunder as well. That would scare the shit out of me. The fear
Ah,
of, like,
yeah. I
a
mean,
comet, like, Fear of a
that's
comet
like
crashing down into the school, that was a thing. I didn't go out one lunchtime because I was just too scared because I learned
okay.
about
I've never
comets.
had that one.
That was one
I
thing that actually happened to me. But I was
I
scared. I was scared of a lot of things as a kid. I was like absolutely terrified. But
okay.
I think
Here's a
it was the
question though.
unknown. That's what that was. Yeah. Go on.
There is an irrational fear, and I don't know how common it is, but like I know a few people who, like me, sort of have this irrational fear. Do you ever get scared to look out the window at night, regardless of how high up you are, because you think there's
Mhm.
going to be a face on the other side?
Um, can't say I do, but I'm also one of those people that I value my privacy quite a bit. And the idea of having curtains open at night is not my vibe. Like,
Oh,
I do
I don't
not
mean
like.
just with curtains open. I mean even if you had the blinds closed, and for whatever reason you chose to look out, do you just
Um,
do you ever think there's going to just be a face on the other side?
no,
And
I
I'm not trying
can't
to
say.
I'm not trying to instill this fear in you, but I genuinely have not looked out the window before because even if I'm in a hotel and I'm like several floors up or something, or an office building or whatever,
Yeah.
there are times when I'm like, yeah, no, I'm not looking out that window because there might be someone on the other side. And the fear being that it might not be something, logical, like, oh, I'm high up, it's just
Mm.
the window cleaner or something, I just looked out at a bad time.
Yeah. I can't say I do have that fear, no.
Okay,
I
well,
mean, if it did happen, I would be freaked out. I'd be like, how has that happened? Like, why has it happened? I'll be very curious. Um, but no, it's not something I'd stay away from.
okay, well,
Yeah.
stay like that because life is easier when you're not irrationally scared of a
Interesting.
face
Okay.
appearing.
Is there anything that stems from it all, do you think? Or is it just like,
I don't think so, but it might have been from one time, when my aunt it was, like, around when we were old enough to get first emails and stuff,
yeah.
and, like, my auntie sent me something, like, one of those chain mails, but it's,
Okay, yeah.
all it is, like, "Stare at this picture," and then it jump scares you,
Oh, it's one of
and
those
it
ones.
was
Yeah,
basically,
okay.
like I think I was, like, 9 or 10, and it was, like, a picture of, like, a window, and I was just sat there, and this was at night. My auntie sent it to me
Okay, yeah.
beforehand and then was like, "Why didn't you check? I sent you an email." And then, like, so I went and checked, and, like, we went to the computer and she turned the light off, and I was sat there as a kid staring at the screen,
Oh,
and then
mate,
it got
yeah.
me. I think it might partially be from that,
Okay,
but
yeah.
I
That'd be trippy. That'd be
yeah,
not a great
it
one.
doesn't always kick in, but there are some times where I'm like, "Oh, maybe I won't look out the
Yeah.
window right now."
Yeah. Fair. I've never experienced that. I think if I the thing is I live on like the first floor of a building, right? So if I were to look out or whatever and I saw someone out there, I just assume they're going about their day life. If they're looking directly into my window, I would be a bit like, "What the fuck are you doing that?
Yeah, see, but
Like, you
that's
fucking
different.
weirdo."
Like, if
Yeah.
they're on the ground and you're high up, that's nothing. I'm talking like you look out and there's a face right on the opposite side, like at your face, eye
Yeah.
level, man. I think it also is a combined fear of like I don't believe in supernatural things,
Yeah.
but doesn't mean that I can't be proven wrong, and that's what I don't
Mm.
want to happen. I don't want to look out the window at night and be like, oh, there's no one on the street, but there's this fucking face looking at me on the opposite side of my window and it's a fucking like ghost or some shit.
Do you
I don't
have
need
that
that.
mentality, like, you won't believe it till you see it kind of thing?
Yes, I'm
Because
definitely that.
that's what I have as well. Because that's why with ghosts or whatever, when people say aliens and ghosts or whatever, I'm not entirely like shut off from the idea of them, right? But like if I saw one and it's like, oh, I'll look for a reason for it not to be a ghost or an alien because it's not like I don't think they exist. It's not. I just don't know if that will happen. I don't think it's likely for it to happen that I see an alien or ghost. Um, so like I'm one of those people that like, okay, yeah, if I see it and it's there and it's spooky and I don't like it, yeah, okay, I will be scared of it. But I'm like, yeah, ghosts or whatever, aliens, I'll see it. Like, if I see it, I'll believe it. But I'm just kind of, it's the same thing with that face thing, I guess, like face in the window. Like, if I see it, yeah, I'll be concerned. But I ain't seen that shit, so I'm fine.
Yeah, I mean, same.
Yeah,
If I haven't seen it, then it's just a myth, right? It
yeah,
doesn't exist.
exactly.
It's
Yeah,
fictitious. But again, it's the fear, partial fear that I might get proven wrong in the
Yeah.
worst way, and there will be something on the opposite side. And then I don't know how I'll react. I don't know how to solve that issue. Like,
Yeah.
Ghostbuster, man.
Ghosts. Right. Okay then, fair. Is there anything else that we have to say about this at all? Yeah.
Not that I can think of. I think what we've discovered is most fears, rational or irrational, probably comes down to the fact that you think you're gonna die at some point. So
I mean, yeah, I think that's that. Like, a whole fear of dying is a rational fear in general. I think that's fine to have a fear of dying. Like,
yeah, I
so
mean, you know.
I think it's natural. It's literally your human response to be like, yeah, I don't want to die. I want to live on. So
Yeah,
there we
like
go.
it's you trying to preserve your own life.
Exactly, yeah, and there's nothing wrong with that unless you're really just like lost the will to live. And on that note,
Wow, that got depressing. Jeez.
Yay! Again, thank you for listening, guys, to another episode of our Culture Boys
Oh,
Spooktober
God.
month. Remember to like, comment, subscribe. Click on the links in the description. There's links to all our podcasts. Like, we're on all the podcast platforms and that. We're there. Go find them. Click on the link if you prefer listening to like that. But yeah, guys, thank you, and we'll see you guys next time. Bye bye.
Bye.